Military man myself, so I know a little bit about security. Let me explain something to you about this situation and just how curious it is. Okay? Curious is the word I'm going to use, maybe even interesting. These events are organized, they're structured, they're planned days in advance. There are no pop-up rallies. No. They are highly coordinated events between law enforcement and Secret Service agents. They'll get to the area, they'll scope it out, find all the hot spots, whether the clear lines of sight, the perch positions. They'll never allow open windows or anything like that. They learned all this from the Kennedy days. That's why you don't have assassination attempts that often at rallies, ever really, because they learned a lot from the Kennedy days. And so what they'll do is they'll scope the area out. In fact, they'll look at all the hot spots, they'll look at all the perch positions, rooftops especially. They don't even like rooftops. But what's curious about this situation is the very position the shooter was in, they would have 2 or 3 agents in full battle rattle, security personnel up on that position. Yes, you heard me. The very position that shooter was on. That's very curious to me. Let's talk a little bit more about this shooter. This shooter had all the right conditions for them. Thank goodness they did not succeed. But let's just talk about the situation they were in. They had a perfect elevated position, clear line of sight. He had a tripod, a scope. He even had good weather. Folks, that don't happen. That don't just happen. Just like, when Tom Brady said he didn't know nothing about the footballs and Bill Belichick knew that they didn't know nothing about the footballs, the Patriots, that several years ago. Troy Aikman came on TV and said, as a star quarterback, NFL quarterback, Hall of Fame, he said that just doesn't happen, folks. That kind of thing just doesn't happen. Now there are videos of clear audio. I didn't say edited audio. I didn't say staged audio. I said this is clear audio at the time. And there are 2 things happening when they hurl him off the stage. One, Secret Service does something that's very curious. They pause and let him get his shoe. That wouldn't have happened, folks. No way, no how. They could care less about what articles of clothing you lose. They will slam you to the floor like a rag doll and then pile on top of you and drive you out of there in the lowest profile possible in 5 to 7 seconds. That's actually how they're trained to do it. And the second thing is they will never let you wait and pause for a photo and rear your head. That would never happen, folks. Never, never, never. So, just think about that. Very, very curious. I'm not suggesting this, but some would suggest and have said that Trump is a master at changing media narratives. Changing the subject. Garnering the attention. And this...
Exactly. Look at his appearance here. Giving all praises to Yahweh B'Shem, Yahweh Shah B'Shem, Yahweh Kakadash, double honors to our apostles and elders here, great millstone, peace and blessings to the Lord's hopeful elect. And at this point it's just cringe. And when I saw the clip, that's the first thing I said. I said, there's no way that they're going to allow him to just sit there and stand there and they're just going to hover over him like that and allow him to fist bump. To me, that was just cringe when he did that fist bump, because that was just blatantly obvious. Like, clearly, this is just rehearsal. Okay, now cameras are rolling action. Because even I know, right, in a serious situation like that, if that was to happen genuinely, they would jump on top of him and they would drag him out of there, and they would cut the feed. Right? They would cut the feed. They're not gonna just sit there and allow you to just stand up and they're just cover over who? They're not gonna do that. That's a joke. If anything, that's a mockery to the actual Secret Service themselves. They're not gonna do that. That's a joke. At the end of the day, they're gonna get him out of there. They won't even let him get up. Right? They would cut the feed. They would do what it takes to get him out of there. They're not gonna sit there and let him. It was just bad. Okay, and coming out here with a so-called Band-Aid over his ear, right? Let me tell you, if there was real damage, you know what they would do? They would show his ear. They would show the doctors they're trying to stitch his ear up. They would show the doctor. They would show his damage, like literally. If he's bleeding, they're gonna show it. Have you seen it? Have you seen physical pictures of his actual ear being torn or damaged, or anything like that? That's why I said at this point it's just cringe, and the Lord is able to disappoint the devices of the crafty, as he says here in Isaiah 44:24. Thus said the Lord Yahweh thy Redeemer, and he that formeth thee from the womb. I am the Lord Yahweh, that maketh all things, that stretcheth forth the heavens alone, that spreadeth abroad the earth by myself, that frustrateth the tokens of the liars, and maketh diviners mad, that turneth wise men backward, and maketh their knowledge foolish. That's what he has the power to do. As the NLT says, I expose the false prophets as liars and make fools of fortune tellers. I cause the wise to give bad advice, thus proving them to be fools. So the Lord is able to make the diviners mad, because that's all that was. That was a psyop, which is psychological operation on the minds of the people to sway your beliefs and to sway your thought process to think one way, to get you all roused up. But guess what? The Lord is able to counter that. And that's all I ask the Lord, because clearly they're going to try to do some more witchcraft and wickedness, right? That's how they've been so successful, as you can say, by trying to deceive the people in the open, running these psyops in the open. But now that we're at the end and they're losing their power, what all do they have left? They have nothing. They have nothing in their playbook other than to keep doing what they've been doing, which is try to run manipulation on you. That's why we tell you this. That's what they're going to do. Like, to bring that chip, they're not just going to come out and say, here's, this is the mark of the beast. Listen to me. I'm the devil. Say don't listen to me, but I'm the devil. And here, no, they're going to do the opposite. They're gonna sneak it in there. They're gonna say how convenient it is. They're gonna sell you how convenient it is. You think that was, they're not done with this, with these rehearsals. They're not done with those, because when they bring that chip, they're gonna stage a whole bunch of more. They're gonna say, oh look, somebody was kidnapped, but thanks to that chip, we were able to find them. Breaking news: child kidnapped, baby gone missing, but thanks to that chip, the child was found. Or they're gonna do, we had somebody who's famous, right? Let's say somebody who's famous, they may so-called collapse on the stage. They rush into the hospital, and then next thing you know, such and such is saved because the doctors was able to run his chip and get his medical info and save them. Yeah, that's what they're gonna do, just like they've been doing. But the Lord is able to bring it down. The Lord is able to make it so blatantly obvious that is not genuine, is not real, because that's what the Lord has the power to do. The devil and his wicked elite and their secret societies, their only real power was their secrecy, was that nobody actually knew what they were doing. To take the power away, you simply just have to shed the light on it. Jeremiah 49:10, but I have made Esau bare, I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. Because Esau wants to hide. The Amalekites, they like to hide. They like to do things in secret and in the open at the same time. But when people can see through it and call it out immediately, then immediately the power is gone. And I mean, it's so whack that I believe is basically old news now. Like, who's talking about it? Ain't nobody talking about that anymore, because everybody could see right through that. You see, that's what the Lord has the power to do. He has the power to strip away the power of these heathen and their devices. That's what the Lord can do, man. Job 5:12. He disappointeth the devices of the crafty, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. He taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the forward and is carried headlong. Right? So that's what the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua has the power to do. And coming out here, with this band-aid, right? It's just cringe. And people can see through it. Everybody already knows, all right, he's going to be president now because they hadn't already solidified it with this stunt. So there's not going to be no hype around the election. There's not going to be any hype around that because they already know it's already predetermined. It's already pre-selected. It doesn't matter. So you see how they're losing their strength, they're losing their power, but they're not done yet. They're going to do the same thing with the chips. And this is, call law Yahweh Shem Yahushua for stripping this man of his power by simply exposing him. That's all he has to do is expose it. When he makes the move, make it obvious that this is, some type of ritual or something like that. Make it obvious. And that takes the power away. And they know behind the scenes, they know they're losing. Even Trump knows. He's probably thinking like, man, why y'all make me do this? Because, he don't call the shots. But even he knows, and they might not even bring it up anymore. That's just how whack that all of this is. But that's the power of the Lord, man. Just stay tuned. They're going to keep, and that's why the scripture says, right, not to, if you be persecuted, let it be for the word's sake. Don't actually have them something that they can count you guilty for. Because when they come to make that move on you and they try to plan us and paint us out to be these violent criminals, these radicals, let them do it, because then it's going to be just that much obvious that clearly it is because of hate and they making us trying to look bad, and we're really not that, right? So that's why you got to just be spotless in this truth. Let them set the snare. Let them make it. Let them try to paint us out to be criminals or whatever the case is, and more obvious it will be that just like with Yahweh Shai, clearly they was moved with envy, right? Clearly when these devils move on us, clearly it's going to be out of hate, and it's because we have the truth. That's why they want to silence us. That's why they want to try to paint us out to be violent. That's what they're going to try to do. And the Lord said, just make sure you're spotless. And if you be persecuted for the word's sake, happy are ye, because when this devil comes to make a move, it's going to be that obvious that he's doing it out of hate. And that's how it's going to be known who are the Lord's chosen, because then that's when people are going to realize they have the truth, because look at clearly what they're doing. See, they're not really doing what they say they're doing, right? They set them up. They set up these actors and agents to try to make them look bad. Clearly they have the truth. Yeah. So with that, shalom.